You've just stepped into the only place where Hornets sting, Panthers growl, and 49ers try not to blow a fourth quarter lead. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show, hosted by a guy who loves sports named Ethan. We're talking Queen City sports with just the right amount of bias and way too much caffeine. Let's get it going.
Welcome to the one and only Buzz and Roar Show. It's crazy to even say that we are on episode 26 of this thing. My hand was out of frame there. That was terrible. We're on episode 26. I mean, that is unbelievable. We're going to get to 30. Okay, that's 60 more episodes. That's math. 70 more episodes till 100. I mean, that means a couple years, but either way, episode 30, that's kind of crazy. That means I've done this for 26 weeks, which is literally half a year. That is 6 months, okay? But either way, welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel called Capital B, Buzz, Capital A, and Capital R, Roar, Capital S Show. And if you're watching on YouTube, follow the show on Spotify. Both are linked in the channel bio or description of this episode. If you'd like to get involved with the show or a sponsorship request, send me an email at all lowercase ethanthebroadcaster@gmail.com or click the email page in my YouTube channel's main description. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or ideas for future episodes. And be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram. We are growing really quickly on Instagram. And I mean, we just shot up yesterday after the Charlotte Hornets win. All lowercase, Buzz and Roar Show for updates, clips, and more. And with that out of the way, subscribe for more. Trying to hit 1K subs. That would make, people say it's just 1K. Like, what do you mean just 1K? That is 1,000 people who watch me. So, Ethan Pepper, sports analyst, 15-year-old sports analyst, kickoff here on the Buzz and Roar Show.
Let's dive into the show with a game to start us off. It's kickoff time here on the Buzz and Roar Show. Who's ready? I know I am.
Alright, I'm going to go and apologize in advance. There's no game on kickoff once again, but I do just want to really quickly promote my Instagram and YouTube. I know it's kind of cheesy, but listen, I really am trying to reach 1K subs and 1K followers on Instagram and YouTube. Okay, I mean, and I'm going to be honest, we are growing really quickly, but YouTube has kind of hit a standstill, so please make sure to share with friends. Make sure to share with any Carolina Panthers fans, any Charlotte Hornets fans, any fans of sports, really, because I do other sports just on these podcast episodes. I mainly do, of course, the Carolina Panthers, Charlotte Hornets, sometimes Charlotte 49ers, sometimes the Charlotte Checkers, most of the time just the Charlotte Knights with the Carolina Panthers and Charlotte Hornets. So please share with friends. And let's actually get to the first segment. By the way, there's some huge news coming up that might come up, okay? I do not know if it could come up very soon. I do not know if it will happen, but if it does happen, let's just put it out there. It's going to be the biggest news that will probably ever happen to this podcast. So once again, just stay tuned. Let's go to the next segment here on the Buzz and Roar Show. Paint the picture.
Welcome to Paint the Picture, the segment where Ethan goes full Bob Ross mode and calmly paints the path forward. Ethan breaks down what needs to happen over the coming weeks for one Charlotte team that's on the brink and maps out exactly what went wrong and how they can still make the playoffs.
Okay, guys, it's funny because we're back in Panthers content, okay? I mentioned the fact that we're just doing Hornets content for the next couple months since the Panthers season is over. But guess what? I was hearing these rumors and free agency is about to start, so I thought, what better way to start this episode with some Panthers content? In fact, 2 of our 3 segments today is the Carolina Panthers for the first time in a long time. But for Paint the Picture specifically, I want to go ahead and talk about who/what should the Panthers draft in this year's draft, okay? Because they could go a multitude of directions, okay? Let's go to a mock draft simulator real quick, okay? There is a lot of just different situations that you could do. But what I want to do real quick is just go here, and I almost want to start, and I'm going to let this mock draft simulator, oh man, hold on, let me actually put this on the screen. Why wouldn't I do that? That's stupid of me. Let me put this on the screen real quick. I'm still here, I promise. Desktop. Okay. Panthers are on the clock at 19. This is where it's kind of funny because if you go to a mock draft simulator, they've got, like, of course, Fernando Mendoza going 1, Reese Van Bailey going the next 3. Okay. Of course, Caleb Downs at safety. You've got Casey Concepcion there. But one thing I do notice is that almost every time that you do a mock draft, okay, you have got just about every player that you want on the board if you are the Carolina Panthers, okay? I just realized my webcam was not on. I mean, you've got just about every player you want if you're the Panthers, okay? You've got Sonny Styles. You have got daggone Cassius Howell, okay? He is probably not going to be the pick. But, of course, you've got Caleb Banks. You've got, I mean, if you want a tight end in the first round, probably not going to happen considering what we've been hearing from Dan Morgan. But, I mean, if you've got all 4 or 5 of your options, actually 6 of your options that you wanted, okay? You wanted Sonny Styles. You wanted Ione. You wanted Peter Woods. You wanted Cassius Howe. You wanted Kenyon Sadiq. You wanted Caden Proctor. You wanted Caleb Banks. You wanted all of them. But if I was in this situation, of course, I'd draft Sonny Styles, okay? Because, of course, you get all those, like, amazing draft, amazing, I mean, you have, of course, Derek Brown, Christian Roseboom, Trevin Wallace, and Sonny Styles on the same team. I mean, that's like unstoppable, okay? But once again, this is just a mock draft, okay? This is not the real thing. Now, I do want to do it again real quick, though, because you can do it a couple times and see that sometimes Sonny Styles does get drafted. But this does update every single day, which is weird because, once again, Jeremiah Love, not even, like, out yet. Sonny Styles, not even out yet, okay? So all these mock draft, Casey Concepcion, not even out yet. So all these, like, mock draft simulators are saying that, like, oh, easily going to be a top, going to have Sonny Styles and all the players we want on it, okay? Now, I do want to once again put this out here. Let's do ESPN players, draft speed, bang. Can I do a start? Okay. Here is where it gets funny because this has trades. Do you trade back if you're the Panthers? I actually think the opposite, okay? Now, let's go with what I do think you should do, okay? Reject. Let's just reject it for now. What I would do if I was Carolina, and this is going to sound crazy, but I want to show you guys this. Sonny Styles, I would wait and see because we know Sonny Styles is going to a different team. Okay, so I would wait and see, and I would say, okay, he got drafted by the Jets. Let's do this. Let's trade Carolina first for, of course, oh, it's not going to let me do that. What I was going to say, though, is that it's not going to let me do that. That's kind of dumb. It wasn't going to let me do that. Wait, hold on. A Carolina first for a New York Jets first. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm so confused right now. I thought you could do that. But what I was trying to get to y'all is that what I would do is I would wait and see. Sonny Styles, is he drafted? If not, then although it won't let me actually do it, let's just hypothetically say that this is like these are the picks for this year, okay? I would trade our first and our third, maybe our second, but because what we have here, see here, is we don't have as much draft capital as last year. We've just got 7 rounds down the board, okay? But if you look, we've got, pick number 33, you want Sonny Styles. You can't get Sonny Styles, okay? You probably cannot get Kenyon Sadiq if we did hypothetically want him either, okay? Carnell Tate, he's off the board. Makai Lemon, he's off the board. Jermon McCoy, he's off the board. Arvell Reese, of course, he's off the board. He's going to be off the board really early on, of course. Just usually if you look at these draft simulators, you usually cannot see Sonny Styles going to the Panthers. But now with what I would do, which is this. What I would do if I was the Panthers in the draft. I was just trying to paint that picture. That's literally what this segment is called. It's called Paint the Picture. Going Bob Ross mode, whatever. I would, if I was the Panthers, I would go and I would pick up Sonny Styles. Okay? And it sounds stupid, but I believe that Sonny Styles is a good enough player to really, help out. And people are saying don't trade up. And I understand the whole don't trade up thing, but I do believe that if we trade up, we could be a top 15 team next year. If we get Sonny Styles, oh my goodness, there's no way that we would not be a top 15 team next year. And you have to look at it from Dan Morgan's perspective. Because Dan Morgan has shown in the past that he's very conservative. So the question really is now, is he going to do it? Of course, all you Panthers fans out there can say, okay, we don't want to trade up, but we also want Sonny Styles. Okay, to get Sonny Styles, we're going to have to trade up. Let's put it out there just right now. We're going to have to trade up. But if I was Dan Morgan, I would for sure not go out there and get I would for sure not go out there and just get Kenyon Sadiq or get a or trade all our picks up for Arvell Reese, okay? Because you need that defensive depth if you're Carolina. You do. You need that defensive depth. But in general, I would see if Sonny Styles gets picked. If not, I would say this is the first year that I think Dan Morgan does actually make a call and try to trade up in the draft. But not beforehand, because as respectfully as possible, okay, people slide back a lot that not many people realize, okay? Of course, I was one of those people who thought Shedeur wasn't going to slide back last year. And he slid back to the 6th round. Or 5th round or something crazy like that. But my point here is that I think we should wait. And if Sonny Styles gets drafted, bang, that's our opportunity to just pounce on it. Try our hardest to get Sonny Styles. Trade 3 or 4 of our picks. Then later on in the draft, that's when we trade some of our later on capital. I'm telling you, I really believe that this year is just the year that Dan Morgan goes all in, but not outside the draft. So he's not going to go all in for the draft outside the draft. He's going to go all in the draft after he sees what happens before other teams pick, okay? Because he does not want to risk us trading up to the number 10 spot, then Sonny Styles gets picked number 8, okay? He does not want to risk that at all. But my point here is that I mean, if you are the Jets, you would like a Kenyon Sadiq. So if Sadiq is there, if you're the Panthers, you actually have kind of an advantage, okay? Maybe the Jets GM might want to hear some calls about Sonny Styles, okay? Maybe he's willing to trade away Sonny Styles for Kenyon Sadiq. So, I mean, it's all kind of just like what if right now. And we don't know what's going to happen with this whole draft situation coming up in May or April. But it's going to definitely be a draft that we have not seen in a while for the Panthers. Once again, I think this is the first year that we're about to see that Dan Morgan goes just about as fully pressed and full in as he can possibly go. Okay? I do believe so, and I also do believe that the Panthers are still going to probably make the playoffs the next year. In fact, a lot of the like preseason power rankings putting the Panthers at 25 or their ceiling is 6.5 wins. That's stupid. Okay. We saw the improvement, and honestly, I don't think we're going to slow down. I think we're just going to keep improving. But in general, it starts with the draft, and that's why we need to talk about the draft, because of the fact that the draft means so much to us this year. We need to talk about the draft. So I will be doing a lot of draft stuff. I will be doing a lot of free agency stuff. But that is not to go out and say that the Hornets stuff is done, okay? I'm still full Hornets on in. Hornets stuff still out there. I'm just saying I'm going to people posting a lot more Panther stuff than I have been the past month and a half, maybe 2 months, because of that, okay? So, with that being said, with all of that being said, goodness gracious, I spent 13 minutes on that. Let's go to the huddle for one more Panthers segment, and then we'll finish off with the Hornets.
Come on, Buzz and Roar fans. Let's all huddle up and review some breaking news for this week's Charlotte sports teams.
Okay, so I just want to huddle up real quick, okay? Because there is some funny rumors going around about the one, the only A.J. Brown, okay? A.J. Brown to the Panthers. Now, once again, not guaranteed, of course. Of course, not guaranteed even a little bit. But apparently, the other day, I saw something that Adam Schefter had posted. Apparently, of course, he's the guy who gets all of the breaking news from the NFL teams. NFL teams, the second they do a little thing, he's the first person the NFL GM tells or whatever. And apparently, Adam Schefter got told by some sort of Panthers media member that... hold on, let me back up a second. The other day, the Eagles GM actually specifically said that they are, quote, willing to trade A.J. Brown, but they would need something that, quote, blows them away. Here's the thing, though. Here's where it gets interesting. Last night, a little bit late in the day, I got told by Adam Schefter on my phone. Bleacher Report notified me and told me that apparently Adam Schefter had got notified from some Panthers media team member that they are the first team to offer the Eagles for A.J. Brown, and it apparently is pretty blow-away worthy. Okay, once again, I don't know whether this is true or not. Adam Schefter doesn't even know whether this is true or not. Nobody knows whether this is true or not, but the one thing we do know is the fact that Adam Schefter is definitely the most high up person in NFL, of course, and so I would trust him, okay? If he says that the Panthers offered a big deal for A.J. Brown, then the Panthers probably offered a big deal for A.J. Brown. Now, what would we have to give up to get him, and is it a good move by Dan? Number one, I will say, for the first question, what would we have to give up to get him? I will put this out here. It's going to be probably a little bit scary for Panthers fans to hear. But if it has to blow the Philadelphia Eagles away, then it would have to be some crazy trade like daggone our first round pick, our second round pick, and Derek Brown. Okay, now that's of course a little bit out of reach, but I'm just putting it out there. It would be have to be something along those lines to really blow something away. So what do I personally think Dan Morgan gave up, like, in this, what do I think Dan Morgan called the Eagles for A.J. Brown for? I do believe, and I do not know, but I do truly believe that they probably tried to get rid of J.C. Horn. And it's not something I want to admit. I mean, I love J.C. Horn. He's had his great moments, but I'm just putting it out there. I think that if there's anybody on the Panthers that Dan Morgan would be willing to get rid of and the Eagles would definitely be blown away by, it would be J.C. Horn a million times over. So what do I think the trade is? Probably like J.C. Horn and our second round pick or our first round pick, something like that, okay? But in general, would it be a good trade by Dan? There's two ways to look at it. I'm going to go the good way first. Number one, the good way that not many people who are Panthers fans are looking at. The good way is the fact that, well, we're getting probably a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now, okay? And so if we get A.J. Brown, Bryce is set. I'm just putting it out there right now. Okay, Bryce is set. Now, that's the good part. The good part is that, we would have probably the best wide receiver core in the country. Okay, we would have A.J. Brown, Tedero McMillan, Jalen Coker, and Jimmy Horn Jr. And A.J. Brown could, do a little bit of a developmental stuff to those 3 receivers and make them even better than they already are. Okay, so, that's the good side of it. The bad side, which is a little bit more than the good side, is the fact that, number one, who has Dan Morgan been talking about a lot this season? Trey Hendrickson. He is a free agent. If we got A.J. Brown, we would probably still have... I really don't know. I think we would probably get rid of most of our cap and probably not have enough cap to get... Trey Hendrickson. Okay, I do not think that if we got A.J. Brown, we would have enough money left on our roster to get Trey Hendrickson, which is huge because everybody wants Trey Hendrickson. If we got Trey Hendrickson, then who cares about the paint the picture segment I was just talking about? If we get Trey Hendrickson, we don't need Sonny Styles. Go get yourself a Kenyon Sadiq. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you get Trey Hendrickson, you do not need Sonny Styles. But what I'm trying to get at here is that if we get A.J. Brown and we get rid of a defensive player for another offensive player, then yes, it would be huge. But no, I do not think it would work very well because our goal has been so much focused on offense. But now when you start to see that offense improve, what are you supposed to do? Okay, so this is Bryce's rookie year. Offense down here, defense up here. And I'm just being honest. Defense didn't look that good, but defense was pretty daggone good. I mean, we had a good core. It just wasn't good enough. Okay, but it was still pretty daggone good if you look back on it. Then the next year, Bryce's second year, offense was about below average, and then defense got a little bit down to just above average. Then last year, Bryce goes up to average, defense goes down to below average. And then this year, Bryce's offense shoots way up, basically to the top, way above average, and the defense goes way down to the bottom. Okay, it's almost like there's focusing so much on offense, and the offense is doing a lot better now, but what do you do about the defense? Okay, I mean, football is not just a one-sided sport. You got to think about that. Football is not just like a one-sided thing. Like you gotta know how to be a good offensive side of the ball player. You gotta get those good players on the offensive side of the ball so then they can keep the defense off the field for most of the game, okay? But also you need to keep the offense off the field if you're the defense, okay? It's just, in fact, if you're the defense, your main goal is to keep the offense on the field, technically. Because if you stop them really quickly, then that's great, and the offense gets right back on the field. But you know what I'm trying to say. It's not just like a one-sided sport. You cannot win the Super Bowl with Jamarcus Russell at quarterback and like the worst offensive players and then the best defensive players and vice versa. You can't do it. So what do you do if you're Dan Morgan? In this situation, would I have offered for A.J. Brown? No, I would not have. I would have waited to see if I could get Trey Hendrickson. Then if A.J. Brown goes to free agency, maybe I offer a little bit for A.J. Brown. If not, then I do trade for A.J. Brown. But what I'm trying to get here is that Trey Hendrickson, he is probably going to be a full-time deal sort of guy because the Panthers have got a lot of salary cap that, once again, not many people are talking about it. We have got tons of salary cap, okay? We've got tons upon tons upon tons of salary cap. And so it's very exciting, the fact that Trey Hendrickson is just out there in free agency, but then it's not very exciting when this team tries to go offense first offseason again, okay? And so I trust Dan Morgan. I have seen the past couple of years that he's been GM, and I do trust him. And I think that Dan Morgan has actually done an outstanding job, but I would like to see a little more aggressiveness, but I do not think A.J. Brown is the aggressiveness that I want. Neither do I think A.J. Brown is the aggressiveness that the Panthers want in general. But once again, if we got A.J. Brown, then we still had enough cap for Trey Hendrickson, then I would call Dan Morgan the best GM in the world, because that is two of the top players in the league right now, just about. If you ranked every offensive and defensive player, just in general, every player, both of those players would be in the top 50, maybe top 25, probably not top 25. There's probably a lot more better than them. But they would both be in the top 50, and that's very, very impressive, okay? So, in general, I mean, Dan Morgan, he's quiet right now, but I think he's kind of like, I think he's talking. The talks are just not working, okay? I think that's what's going on right now. But I will say I do almost 100% guarantee that if you're the Panthers, it will probably be a lot better by the time free agency starts. We will talk more about free agency next week when it starts, and I will keep you guys updated on the shorts page of my YouTube channel and the reels page of my Instagram. However, let's go to the last segment of the day. Finally back to some Charlotte Hornets basketball scouting report here on the Buzz and Rose Show.
It's time for the scouting report. Key matchups and more for this week's Charlotte sports teams.
Okay, so scouting report, and I said it's got to do with the Charlotte Hornets, baby. I want to talk about something real quick. The Charlotte Hornets, they're one game behind .500. Okay. They do not play tonight. They do play tomorrow night. The Mavericks. Cooper Flagg is missing this game, which, by the way, just to kind of sidetrack, I'm very mad about that. It would have been such a good game. But they're 10th in the East, 30-31. If I'm correct, so let me fact check this. Yes, the Hawks won. So the Hawks are back to .500. But once again, the Hornets, they're one game behind the Hawks for that .500 spot. Now, I will say, if the Hornets go above .500, so if they don't finish .500 or below, they finish above .500, that would be the fifth time, that this franchise has done it, and that is including the Bobcats. That is like the start of the Hornets, okay? So way back when Dale Curry was on this team, okay? It was the start of the Bobcats, then the Hornets, then the Bobcats, and then now the Hornets. They've only done it 4 times. That's how poverty this franchise has been. But we're excited about the future, and what will it take to make 5 seasons above .500? let me put this out there. The Mavericks, they are missing Cooper Flagg. I think we've got that win. Okay, I can't guarantee nothing, but it's at home. It's going to be a great game. I think we can definitely get that win. Then the Celtics, that's who we play the game after the Mavericks. That's going to be probably the most tough game, and I'm being honest, in the rest of the season, because we play them 3 times. They're second in the East. If we're being honest here, and you heard Chuck, Kenny, Ernie, and Shaq say it the other day on NBA on ESPN, they're the hottest team in the NBA right now, okay, easily. And Jaylen Brown is the hottest team in the league, the hottest player in the league right now by far, okay. So that's definitely going to be a tough game. But here's the reason why I still have confidence, because then we play the Heat, Suns, Trailblazers, Kings. Should, and I'm not going to guarantee nothing with the Hornets, but that should, if we play right, be 4 straight wins. I'm not saying any of those teams are bad except the Kings. And yes, I did just call out any Kings fans watching. The other 3 teams are play-in teams, though. The Suns are 7th seed in the West, so they're actually just in the play-in, but still, the other 3 teams are play-in teams, and then the 4th team is barely even, I think they're last in their conference. They're 15th in the West. But here's where it gets crazy. Then the Spurs, then we play 3 more play-in teams, and then we play the Kings again. Then we go on a little streak here playing the Knicks, 76ers, and Celtics. I'm just being honest. The rest of the season, I believe that we could win every single game. We're not going to, of course. I mean, that's crazy. I'm just being honest, though. We really could finish this season. And this might be a stretch. And Hornets fans, do not quote what I'm saying here, okay? Because if you guys clip this and then send it to me when this does not happen, I will be very mad. But we're 30-31 right now. I do believe that if we keep this up, we could finish the season 10 games above 500. I think we could get to 50 wins. In case you're curious, that is what I mean. I think we could get to 50 wins. Once again, if we're being honest, that's not going to happen, okay? That's definitely not going to happen, but the Charlotte Hornets are back, and that's just all that matters, okay? The Charlotte Hornets are back. The Charlotte Hornets have been back for a while now, and not only are they back, they are here, okay? They are here. They are ready to rock and roll, and that's where this episode is going to end. Let's go Hornets, let's go Panthers, and thanks for hanging out on the Buzz and Roar Show. If you want more sports stuff from Charlotte to anywhere else that throws a ball, check out my YouTube channel, capital B Buzz, capital A N, capital R Roar, capital S Show. And hey, if you're already watching this on YouTube, you're in the right place. If you're listening somewhere else like Spotify, go and subscribe on YouTube too. It's like the same thing, but with more visuals and less background noise. And once again, hit follow on Instagram as well. It's all lowercase Buzz and Roar Show. Hit subscribe. Once again, trying to reach 1K subs and 1K followers on Instagram. I'm really shooting up on Instagram, but I would love for some subs on YouTube. Subscribe or don't. I'm not your boss. See you guys for episode 27 of the best podcast in the world, the Buzz and Roar Show.
Thanks for listening to Buzz and Roar. We talk about sports, all kinds of sports. If you like the show, hit subscribe or follow. We'll be back soon with more stuff to share. Thanks again, and see you next time.